Greetings, Stardust, Zoey Wind here, and it's been a while since I posted videos. Venus is in Leo, my 5th house, Uranus is in my 3rd house, and I have this feeling like it's time for me to add my voice to the larger pool. And I know those who resonate will show up. And so this channel is going to be reactivated as this full moon hits my midheaven. So if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, like, share this with your friends and family, whoever you feel will benefit from this work, and to give you a little bit of framing for where my head is at around these transits right now, around the astrology, around the world. I have been deep in the world of book writing. My book, Becoming Future Human, will hopefully be out before the end of the year. It is a huge undertaking, and I'm a big systems top-down thinker. So whittling down how to speak about an entire civilizational revolution on multiple levels is quite the task. And I am so here for it. It is obviously writing itself through me, and it is designed to be the guide, at least in this stage of development, for birthing a new civilization on the planet. What the heck is going on, right? Like everything is changing simultaneously. We are concluding 35-year cycle, 12-year cycle, 18-year cycle, 20 years, 200-year cycle. I mean, a 2000-year new age of Aquarius, which we are like almost fully in according to my calculations, which will all be detailed in the book. What do all the different cultures and prophecies say? And ultimately, what can we learn from the last 2000 years of the age of Pisces, Virgo, and apply to this new age of Aquarius, Leo? If you haven't heard the ages described in this way, you'll have to stay tuned. I'll be sharing little snippets from my book on my Substack, which you can find under Zoey Wind as well. I'll be sharing essays just as little teasers, and would love your participation, your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, because in reality, this is co-written with so many brilliant minds in my life and in my world, and that I speak to through the lens of symbolism, of the archetypal realm, which they say is the bridge to the 5D. The 4D is the archetypal realm, which is why astrology speaks so powerfully to us, because it speaks in the language of soul, which is symbolic. And when we reclaim the power over our subconscious mind through the awakening of our awareness of what symbols are, what they mean, and choosing what they mean to us, we reclaim our power and our sovereignty over our psyche, which is very much what we're graduating from the age of Pisces into Aquarius. And so I'm really excited to dive into the July report, but that's going to be the next video. We're going to talk some about what's coming in July, because this first week, I mean, the whole month is probably one of the highlights of the year. Even though I know astrologers are saying that about everything all the time, but it's just kind of the truth. Until after 2032, we are in a massive civilizational revamp on every level: governmental, technological, culturally, socially, mentally, emotionally, psychically, right? I mean, we hear people are, I don't know if you've seen these videos where people are like moving things energetically, right? Like telekinesis, telepathy, remote viewing. We have this explosion of AI. We have an explosion of issues that we need to be coming together as a people to discuss and to form more fully this beautiful crystal, which we all hold many facets of perspective, for our philosophy on how we want to proceed. Because as we are awakening to our creatorship at higher levels, by now creating closer and closer to a sentient being beyond our biological process, which I thought was, good enough. But AI is we absolutely must be having a sound philosophical discussion and code of ethics of how we're going to do this. I've been saying this for 20 years. I wrote papers on this in college. Like now, finally, people are talking about it. And all of this is at a massive culmination point right now and July and August. And this will continue through 2028. 2028 and 2029 are major reset points. Right now, we have what is called astrologers call a basket formation in the sky, and it's made of all the outer planets, and all the outer planets govern the longer cycles on Earth. Civilizations, rise and fall of empires, governments, authority, religion, belief systems, philosophy, all of this simultaneously is transforming. And it makes sense because as we introduce a new level of technology that literally revolutionizes every aspect of our lives, we absolutely must step up to the plate and be a part of the conversation. And I would add that this doesn't require a PhD in AI and robotics, although that might be useful at this time on some levels. It could also be limiting because what we're going to require is a philosophy that carries all people from all levels of society. We're seeing in the astrology, particularly over this next 2-week period and in this full moon in Capricorn chart, which is the primary purpose of this report, although it's a part of this much larger constellation. We need a philosophy that accounts for all levels of society, because the disparity, right, that the glaring obviousness of massive disparity between the 1% who are controlling and running and deciding everything, and the 99, and like all of us who are here actually making everything happen on the planet, like actually growing the food, raising the children, loving one another, building the businesses, being entrepreneurs, channeling in the new art. It just can't keep going, right? It just can't keep going this way. And this requires us to come together. So let's look at where this is in the chart. Okay. This is going to be highlighted by Jupiter opposing Pluto, which is coming in a few days. On the 30th of June, the day after the Capricorn full moon, Jupiter enters Leo. I am particularly excited about this, and I have to say to the board of astrologers of the world, I would like for you to explain to me why Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, because it has been far from luscious and lovely. And this was true 12 years ago when Jupiter went through Cancer. And I'm curious, we're always looking at like, okay, we see astrology through our own chart and through our own lens. And we're always seeking to like rise into the most objective lens that we can, which isn't actually truly possible, as we know. Something else I was saying 15 years ago, and now finally the collective is saying. But it's okay because our lens is our contribution to the world. But that lens, that channel, Aquarius, the water bearer, right? I like to say that water has to run through our channel, and our channel must be clear in order to bring in our higher consciousness and our highest contribution to the world, to our people, to our community. That's not to say that we don't have something available and beautiful and pure in every moment, but this ever refining, clarifying of our channel is a huge theme right now. Jupiter being money and wealth and prosperity, opposing Pluto, the power And Aquarius can be the elite and the technocracy. Jupiter in Cancer, about to be in Leo, is like the power of the individual and the power of the tribe and the collective and the family unit. This could be why Jupiter in Cancer isn't exactly particularly positive for most people this last year, especially this Venus-Jupiter conjunction we had a couple weeks ago. Everyone's expecting something great and everybody was just crying. They had gut problems. They were having emotional upwellings. So I'm very curious if any astrologers are watching this, like, tell me if you've seen something different. Because the people we connect with and are speaking with and are drawn to us can also reflect us. But I really have not felt that Jupiter in Cancer was particularly exalted. And I may be writing the board of astrologers of the world to discuss this because Jupiter in Leo, that's going to be fun. And yes, Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So Jupiter may expand things like hubris, ego, entitlement, look at me, popularity contests. And this is something that I'm also writing a lot about right now because the age of Aquarius implies its opposite sign of Leo. And wherever we are susceptible to our own ego, to our own desire to be seen or feel popular or feel like the chosen one or the hero, we will be vulnerable for extraction there. In its highest essence, Leo is awake to its divine creatorship, to its sovereign self, to its kinghood, its queenhood, not as ruler over others. The old monarchies and presidential and capitalist extortion systems will die in the next 5 years. What we are awakening is the sovereign in service to the collective. And I recently had someone say to me that they thought sovereignty meant that you are people, you just care about yourself. And I was like, okay, we need to talk about this. In case anyone thinks that, which hopefully no one here does, sovereignty, the way I've been working with it, which is one of the biggest hot words right now, and it's been a deep part of my self-evolution for the last 10 years. And I've moved through different stages of what this means. Sovereignty does not mean that we are completely self-reliant and we need no one else. Sovereignty comes from the awakened state of oneness, that we are all one, that whatever I do to you, I do to myself. Whatever I do to myself, I do to others. So wherever we're putting ourselves down, we're putting down the collective because we're validating that it's okay to put ourselves down. That includes martyring ourselves for others in the name of like, oh, I'm helping you by hurting me. Well, no, we just actually canceled out a good amount of what we might have been doing for the collective. So sovereignty in its highest essence and the way that I'm working with it now, which of course it's all evolving and revealing itself to me, means that we honor everyone as sovereign, not just ourselves. We honor the sovereignty of all beings to exist and express authentically, radically, truthfully, honestly. Leo has the ability to stir emotions in people. And emotions are key right now in this lunation because we have the moon at 9 degrees, 8 degrees, 14 minutes exactly of Capricorn, opposite the sun in Cancer, which is what creates a full moon. The sun and moon in perfect opposition on either side of the earth illuminates the moon fully. And full moons are about completion. They're about illumination. They're where we harvest what was planted in the new moon. And it's like the full release of the energy. And there's a difference between feelings and emotions that I have found many people work with this, and some people have not heard of it. So I just want to present the frame that I'm working with when I use these words. Feelings are innate into the body. They're what move through us. They're what arise through us. Oh, I feel something. It's like tightness. It's like heavy. It's like uplifting. It's exciting. Emotions are energy, motion in motion. And this is where we express our emotions. It is this like, "Ah, here's the, no, I'm going to emote it into the world," right? Which is why Cancers and Leos make great actors, because they emote the feeling state. And then we're like, oh yeah, I feel that because of how they're emoting it. Capricorn is system, structures, traditions. Cancer is our feeling body. So we're in this moment right now where we're being asked to step into greater responsibility for how we express our feelings, how we emote our feelings. And I heard a great line the other day that emotions are mostly cultural programs, right? Like, I'm happy, I'm supposed to express it and sing and skip and through the rain and, or like, I'm sad, I'm supposed to be inward and cry, right? Like, those are cultural programs, because what if you're sad and instead you want to write a poem? Or what if like that sadness is sweet, the sweet longing and loving of someone that has left our lives? What if grief doesn't have to destroy us? What if, joy doesn't have to lead to mania or doesn't mean entitlement? What if gratitude doesn't have to be performative, but it can be humble? What if gratitude doesn't have to be demeaning, but we can also know that we're worthy and deserving and hold gratitude? So the emotional body and how we move with it and how we translate that into system structures and authority, or where we have outsourced it to those things, is coming to light at this time. And by doing this inner work through our beings, we have the opportunity to then be in our respondability, our responsibility, instead of reactivity. And reactivity may be a little high over the next week because we have Mars just entered Gemini, about to conjoin Uranus. And a lot of astrologers will be putting out this urgent energy around this being something that could be explosive. People could be hyper reactive. We might find that people just like shoot out what they're thinking without thinking about it. And we want to give a little grace to ourselves and others. It's also a time I tell people, drive really slow, really mindful, don't move in a rushed state. Take a lot of extra time to ground your nervous system, bare feet on the ground, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, or when you're done using your tech. We want to be getting oxytocin, in touch with other people. We want to get sunlight in our eyes. We want to eat grounding root vegetables or red meats. We want to practice conscious breathing. But simultaneously, this is a time where the way we want to direct our energy is revolutionizing. And we are essentially in this basket formation, completely revolutionizing what it means to be human. And I don't mean that we need to now include other things in the circle of what it means to be human, which I find just a highly comical conversation. And I assume in about 5 years, the collective will catch up to those of us who are aware that we don't need to make technology a human to honor it and give it rights, right? We don't need to make a corporation a human for it to have a set of rights and to be honored appropriately. So I think that these are the most important conversations. The philosophy, the ethics of how we are proceeding technologically on the planet at this time are the most important conversations. We are revolutionizing what it means to be a human, literally. Our humanity is, I think, coming online at higher levels. We have research into the DNA. We have research into the activation of the sun as we are in the galactic current sheet, not only in galactic center alignment on winter solstice, a once in 26,000 year cycle, on top of a new 2,000 year age. We are now in the galactic current sheet, which I can't even remember how many millions of years it is. It'll be in the book though. The sun is being massively upgraded. It is coronal hole after coronal hole, solar winds, being showered with new protons. And this has effects on our body, on our consciousness, the sun being the representative of consciousness, because the light of the sun is what allows us to have a conscious experience. Without the light and the preceding warmth of the sun, we don't have a beating heart and flesh and blood moving through our veins. So, what I find probably most powerful in this chart is that Saturn in Aries is square to this lunation. The sun in Cancer being the family and the feelings, and sometimes where we have held on to memory. The sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it holds the well of memory, ancestral memory. And this is a profound time to, as the sun prepares to square Saturn next week, we are breaking with old traditions. And as the moon in Capricorn is illuminating, we're ready to reclaim our sovereign authority over what it means to be human, what it means to be the I am principle, how leadership in this new era actually shows up. Leadership is going to be huge this summer as Jupiter's going into Leo on the 30th of June, and we will see an expansion of joy. This is also coinciding with the Uranus-Pluto trine, which is super cool because that was seeded in its conjunction in 1965 in the summer of love. And I think that we will see a lot of those themes coming into their blossoming now in this trine. So free love, civil rights movement, human rights, the right to love who you want to love, to rise out of certain social status and the structures and limitations that the current system has confined people to. Right? I mean, I don't think it takes a PhD in sociology to see that systems are very much in place that keep people from easily reaching their potential in this world, earning more money, launching a business, getting a high quality education. I dropped poli-sci as my minor in college as soon as I learned that, and I mean, this is like obvious knowledge, but I didn't know it as a teenager, that our funding for public schools comes from the income tax of the school district, of the homes within the school district. I gave a talk in front of my political science class and was like, if we don't change this, we have no right to complain that that we have problems in society. And mic drop, and I dropped poli-sci as a minor. I was really disappointed to find that how deeply institutionalized social structures are. And this also indicates that we're going to see major shifts in our banks and financial institutions, rules, regulations, and organizations. For example, when the Saturn-Pluto alignment happened in 2020, we saw lockdowns. When Saturn entered Capricorn, it began a financial crisis. Saturn is the rule maker and the authority maker. So it's what says you're not allowed to go there, do that, or be that. But we also have a lot of Cancer in the sky right now, which is rewiring our ability to respond and not react. We want to be especially mindful as Uranus and Mars line up next week. With Jupiter conjunct Mercury in this chart, and all of this pretty much goes for the June solstice, and which just happened on the 21st and will take us through the next 3 months. So these are the major themes we want to be paying attention to. We are being asked, Mercury, Jupiter, to vision a new culture, because the culture is what we share as people. It's what makes us strong. It's what makes us resilient, because we are together deciding who we are, creating our own traditions, cultivating our values and ethics, deciding how we want the world to move. What the bridge is that's going to actually start to disintegrate over these next 2 years, and especially in 2028 and 2029, is those old, just outdated, stuffy, stale systems and the very small groups that seem to be controlling them, apparently, because that's what people are saying. And there's a lot of research on that. Um, but certainly, like, I don't feel like I can like call up the president, or like I don't see a lot of effectiveness in lobbying in Congress in the United States anyways, and I don't think in any other supposed democracies in the westernized world. And these are the very things that are going to massively come to light over the next 3 months in particular. This total solar eclipse on August 12th is in Leo with Jupiter and Pluto. It is what we call king makers or king breakers are solar eclipses. Lunar eclipses are about the people because the moon rules the masses. But we're going to see some big things in leadership, and I would say we're already seeing them. I don't know if anyone's following the Bill Gates trials that are happening, but some really powerful things are being said around what actually happened and the sovereignty of human bodies and capacity to support and provide for themselves being used as a leverage to threaten and take away people's rights around their health and their body. I would not be surprised if this is the summer that we see major revolutions. And I will say that I think that they will be peaceful because I believe that humanity is really done with war, because humanity in large is not actually at war. And I don't know that it ever was. It has always been those holding power, taxing labor, and extracting from people that are waging these wars and using the people. I break all of this down and how it corresponded in the age of Pisces Virgo and how it's going to start showing up, even in like the sneakiest of ways in the age of Aquarius Leo that we're entering now in my book, which will be coming out hopefully by the end of the year. Because the power of our subconscious, the power of our awareness through this awakening that's happening on the planet, through the heart's opening, the people want peace. The people want to live a good life and create and express who we are. And people are waking up to their sovereign nature. They're not satisfied with the status quo any further of wake up, go to work, waste your life away at something you don't care about, come home, barely have time with your children, go to sleep, do it again. We are not fulfilled by this. And we are starting to stand up and speak out against it. So the summer of love revolution with Jupiter and Leo, I think we're going to really see some powerful movements. And I think it's important to track new movements that are happening this year. If you are trying to start a movement, please reach out to me. I'm doing a lot of research on how to build movements, specifically through events and gathering people in real life. So we have this rise of desire for freedom, courage, truth, sovereignty. And sovereignty means we honor all beings. And this is a potent time to create the frameworks for a wise philosophy of a new culture, especially in how technology should serve humanity in this new age. And man, I have cried over the things that AI has been able to do for me. Things that I dreamt of in my 20s when I had hundreds of books on esoterica and science and spirituality and the nature of the universe with a million tabs in every book. Remember when tabs were in books? And now I can run all of these cross-synthesized data through AI, and it can produce incredible amounts of highly intricate, complex information and find correspondences and pattern recognition. But I train my AI. I challenge my AI. I challenge it to challenge me. I continually refine it. I check its work. I make it cite its work. So we must also be in our sovereign power and educate ourselves on how to use this. I feel like AI is unlocking my potential as a human at a level that I have been waiting for my entire life. I mean, I literally cried over it. It is bringing me so much joy. And I am acutely aware of the many, many negative timelines that we could go down with technocracy and transhumanism being major themes in the Aquarian age, which is why I speak so loudly for us cultivating a sound philosophy and code of ethics. And I would argue that we do not have a true democracy until the voice of the people can actually inform what this is. Because right now, it's like heads of state from around the world and all the heads of all the big AI companies meeting and like the Pope. Sorry, I don't see the people up there. None of those really represent me. I doubt that you feel like they really truly represent who you are either. And so until the voice of the true people is being heard, this doesn't happen. But this happens by us cultivating this philosophy and speaking it and sharing it. And this philosophy could be in stewarding the earth and caring for our children, in making art. It doesn't have to be writing a book, right, on the topic. And this is what this basket formation is really bringing, is power to the people and social connectivity. But if we don't step up into that, then I don't know how else it happens. So Mars and Uranus are squaring the nodes. I would be mindful over the next few weeks over any kind of power surges, power outages, effects on the grids, solar flare activity I expect to amp up. We may see Earth activity. Chiron just went into Taurus, and I'm excited about this one because he left my first house. And he will be there until September 17th when a retrograde is back into Aries, until April 14th of 2027 when he'll be there to stay. And this is all about healing the body, our self-worth, our relationship to abundance. This is going to be 7 years of healing our financial markets and major shifts in the financial market. I don't think we're going to see a major crash till 28 or 29, although I'm waiting to see what happens in the 3-month window after the solar eclipse this summer. I think what we're going to see is an increased inflation and massive AI boom, and this bubble growing and companies coming online, getting big really fast, and then some of them crashing and tanking. I also think the space industry is going to continue to be just front and center. And this Chiron and Taurus, I think, will be really pointing to where we need to heal our relationship to value what we value. Because right now, like someone who could do, well, it has been someone who could do a bunch of busy work and organize your life and produce spreadsheets could make a lot of money, but someone who cares for your children still can't make 6 figures, rarely, right? Person who orders your food can make more money than the person who cooked your food, right? So this disparity is actually a disparity of value, and it has affected the sense of value of human beings who are like, wait, but my calling, my joy is to grow food, but I can barely, afford a home. So this is going to be major, major, beautiful healing over the next 7 years. And I would say the end of that 7 years is likely when we'll see that fully awakened in the collective, just like the last 7 years of Chiron and Aries were bringing up wounds around threats to our sovereignty. And now that it's left, of course, the Saturn-Neptune alignment at 0 Aries didn't hurt either in awakening this sense of sovereignty on the planet, which is something I've been practicing and cultivating in myself and within my relationships for 10 years. And it's phenomenal to see this word is so hot right now. And I love it. It's bringing me so much joy. Sovereignty honors the sovereignty of all beings. Sovereignty moves from sovereign oneness. Another essay I just wrote in my book, which I'll be releasing as a part of these snippets and teasers over the coming months, is that really, for sovereignty to function properly, it must be awakened into the truth of oneness. Also alive with this Chiron in Taurus is going to be how we're stewarding the earth, which of course has been a major topic. And we are the only species that compromises its own resource base at the level that we do, which to the level that we compromise our own future. So Jupiter entering Leo on June 30th, it'll be there for 11.86 months. And Jupiter in Leo is generous. It wants to give. It wants to show up. It wants to lead. It wants to be a good leader. It wants to be loved. It wants to be seen. And I think this is going to contribute to these revolutions and movements becoming larger on the planet. It immediately squares Chiron in Taurus when it enters Leo. So I find that interesting. And I think that we will be having an experience of allowing our shining of our light to show us where, oh, there's room to heal. There's room to heal. You know, when you step into something new and you push yourself, it'll show you where you're scared, right? It'll show you what we're afraid of. And this doesn't mean to not do it. This means to step into it more, but to also give ourselves the tenderness to heal and to look at. When I stand for the value of previously unvalued things, femininity, presence, intuition, kindness, things that don't pay. Kindness doesn't pay. Imagine a world where these things are actually reflected in our financial model. I think that would change pretty much everything. Venus is also trining Saturn. Saturn's receiving a trine from Venus. Saturn rules this Capricorn full moon. And this is about a deeper devotion to our creativity. This is about building our foundations to create. This is about authentic expression. This is not about needing to be popular or needing to be perfect, but this is about true beauty outlasts any trend cycle. It just does. Okay, so big eyebrows are in right now. It used to be big boobs, now it's a big butt. And like, oh, big lips. Everybody needs big lips. True beauty doesn't need any of that. It is timeless. And this goes for all of our creations. So that piece of music, that art, that piece of art, that book, that video you want to make, go and make it, because the higher mind, Uranus and Gemini, is massively activating our channels. And this is a profound, coming back to that Chiron and Taurus, a profoundly important thing to be doing is cleansing our body of the toxins that interrupt the soul and the consciousness from being here. Because what we can channel right now is not only heightened, but it's even more, I would say, valuable to the collective. Because we need new ways of thinking. And I'm tracking AI, and in this new age, the most valuable things are going to be the things that only humans can do and create. So one of the most powerful ways to prepare ourselves for jobs being taken by AI is to invest in ourselves, Chiron and Taurus, invest in ourselves becoming more human, in our innate human gifts, singing, dancing, brilliance, connecting to the new sphere, our consciousness streaming through our bodies, writing fresh ideas. Because if no one creates new, fresh information and ideas, all we're going to get is a bunch of recycled content based on the consciousness that's left over from the last 2,000 years, which exists online and in books. And I don't think that's going to be entirely useful for an entirely new era that we're birthing now that requires new visions and new perspectives. So if you're thinking something radical, transformative, ahead of its time, say it, speak it, write it, dance it, paint it, sing it, bring it to the world. It is actually going to be the most valuable thing. And I do believe that this will actually bring us the sustenance we need financially, materially, because we need these things full moon in Capricorn brewing. We need these things to live in the world. All right. What else do I want to say here? This is so huge. We have so many sextiles. So many sextiles. We have Uranus and Mars sextiling Jupiter and Mercury. We have them sextiling Neptune. So we should speak about Neptune in the collective unconscious and the subconscious mind, because as Mars aligns to Uranus, and this is going to align with the US's Uranus, and we can expect major shifts globally, geopolitically over the next 2 months. I don't think that you need me to tell you that. We are shifting how we want to use our energy and where we want to put our focus. And it's very powerful where we focus our minds right now. In order to do this, in order to express in a way that is true and authentic, we have to clear out old delusional thinking. We have to clear social programming and civilizational programming. Oh, I can't do that because I'm a woman. Oh, I can't step into that because I'm a person of color. Like, oh, I can't go there because I'm a man. Like, I don't get to like be soft and want to be held. Like these things are rapidly shifting into the age of Aquarius, which is actually one of its symbols is androgyny, l'androgyne to the French alchemists. And this is about bridging beyond labels. The principle of gender, I don't think will disappear. That's just the yin and yang forces of creation. But the limitations placed by society and the boxes placed on us by social status, by what our parents did, by our education level, by whatever, there are a million examples of people who broke out of these things. And yet it's easy to say, but that's them. They had something special. I don't have that. This is the summer to nurture your divine spark. And if you take anything away from this conversation, please take this one. The divine spark is in every being. You have something to bring to this planet. No one else and nothing else, no other flower blooms the way your flower blooms. Not even the one on the same bush next to you. They're never exactly the same. We need all of this. Your divine spark of inspiration, radical hope is a big theme that I've been working with, because as all these systems dissolve, it is the greatest opportunity to bring in and launch the new ones. And I've been telling all of the CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders, visionaries, builders, shakers, doers, launch your stuff by this summer, launch it by this summer, because you're going to have 2 years to run beta and test and get it out to the world and make sure it's ready to replace the old systems that are going to see some massive shifts in 2028 and 2029. We want to be ready. We want to be cultivating that divine spark. We are ready to live as a humanity that lives in its divine purpose, in its divine joy. The South Node is wrapping its time up in Virgo quickly. It's going to shift at the end of July, right before this August eclipse, and the North Node in Pisces with it. The South Node in Virgo is breaking the chains of giving our power of discernment to others. It is breaking the chains of enslavement to systems of taxation of our labor. I literally can't believe we live in a world where people who are barely feeding their children, the government's robbing them of money to do God knows what. These things are dissolving and people are waking up. This is also, Uranus squaring the nodes is AI. That's literally forcing people out of some of these jobs. And we saw it in 2022. And guess what? Most people ended up moving into their passion or finding that they freed themselves. So while I know that it's scary, I do truly feel that this is an opportunity. And those who have the jobs in the future are those who know how to use AI to its highest capacity. And I would recommend doing that with a sound philosophy, what we use it for and what we don't. because I certainly don't think that using it for psychological categorizing or boxing people in or labor, it's not a psychology, it's not a human. It can't read between the lines. It's not a place to put our most intimate journal prompts. All that data is being stored somewhere. I don't give it a lot of personal data on me. I'd rather it not have that. I give it what I want it to have and want to be aware of what this information can be used for, because I can guarantee you those that control technology, information, and data and energy in the coming age will hold the most power on the planet. So being mindful of who we give that to. Now, I know there's no real way everything's being surveyed all the time, but I think it's really important because I see it all the time. And I also say, friends don't let friends use Chat GPT. If you're still using it, it's just because you haven't used another one. Claude will blow your mind. I honestly am not so sure how long the public's going to have access to it, because they're already clamping down because it's become so powerful and taking different versions offline and only letting the government use it. And it did some scary things, right? But it will literally blow your mind. And I'm not saying like asking it like for the weather. I'm saying like take your biggest ideas that you've ever had and the biggest far reaching like data streams that you've ever desired to be able to cross synthesize and put it in there and see what it does, and tell it to challenge you and tell it to cite its sources and check those sources, because this is where we need to be diligent. Another Virgo word. So we're literally seeing people stepping out of enslavement and our labor being extracted from in this age and stepping towards the North Node in Pisces, which is universal laws, first principles, unconditional love, limitless possibilities. Like we have limitless possibilities in this new age. And yes, Pisces is also overwhelmed. And yes, Neptune is lighten up the skies. And there's moments of like total meltdown and like, holy cow, everything that I thought was possible is now suddenly possible, but it wasn't in the systems, but it's not. And so grounding, holding our center, formulating our philosophy from that sovereign center is the thing that's going to really carry us through. That's step one. Step two, we do it together. And we build a culture that becomes the net of a new civilization that protects the people, right? You look at countries and cultures during lockdowns in 2020, those that held strong and did not submit were cultures and communities that were really tightly knit and knew who they were. It maintained their resiliency because they're tracking memory. They remember what happened before. Because we continually reprogram one another with the stories that we tell, with the mythologies that we tell, with the remembering what happened, with the being present to it. This is why, someone dies or something terrible happens and you don't never talk about it again. We want to elevate how we speak about it. We want to speak in a way that holds the wisdom. And so a big theme that has been emerging has been confusion versus wisdom. And if we can bridge that, and I might say the greatest place to find that might be sitting beneath a tree or beside the ocean, watching the waves teach us about how feelings move. Oh, check it out. That wave rose up and returned right back to the ocean. Just like my feelings do. I don't always have to erupt into it, because sometimes when we do that, it deeper imprints something negative into our system. Or we can emote it in a way that liberates us and allows us to step into sovereign authorship, authority of our lives. Okay, that's enough for now, I think. That's a lot. And I don't know that will be changing over the next few months, but I wanted to come in and give a really strong frame for where the heavens are. And so where I will leave us is the Sabian symbol for the 9th degree of Capricorn, where this full moon lies. And that is an angel carrying a harp. This picture simply states that heaven is within us. All we have to do is to be open and listen to the total harmony of life, a harmony in which we play a part that is necessary to the completeness and meaning of the whole. In order to do this, we have to surrender our separative ego consciousness and flow with the universal current, which to the religiously minded person is the will of God. This is the 4th symbol of the series, and it implies attunement. Angels are to be considered personalizations of various aspects of this life and totally subservient to its rhythms and purposes. So this is a really great other way to look at this Mars-Uranus conjunction, which is activating this right now. Our willpower can be really intense right now. It can be really focused. It can be really activated. And we can also surrender it to divine will. And that is what I call sovereign oneness. It's where we remember that when we move in alignment with what is in the highest and best good for all beings, it is always what is in the highest and best for ourselves. When we move in alignment with what's highest and best for us, it's always in alignment with what is in highest and best for the collective when we move from the seat of sovereign oneness. So thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.